going to be talking about Gen Con follow-up. Now, again, this is a little late.
Yes,
but
unfortunately.
We've had COVID.
Yeah, we still have COVID. It
still have
won't
COVID.
go away.
Nope, it's annoying. But it is what it is, so we're here, and we're, it's actually quite surprising, because we haven't had it throughout the whole stint.
No, managed to avoid it all this time, and then we avoided it at Gen Con.
Yeah.
To have come home to it because our daughter brought it home from school.
So I think we did all right. I think we made it a pretty long time. So like I said, we're a little bit late on talking about Gen Con, but before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because board games are amazing, as well as board game conventions, and that's what we got to go to. So exciting. So first thing, if you don't know what Gen Con is, sorry, you should come join us. Gen Con is one of the largest board gaming conventions, probably in North America.
It is the largest in North America. It's the second largest in the world.
Yeah. Board game or gaming conventions just in general, right? Because it's not just about board games. There's also role-playing events. There's also cosplays. So there's a lot of greatness happening at Gen Con. So we are very fortunate and lucky that we are able to go almost every single year. And so basically this is our kind of synopsis for Gen Con. Now, Randy, real quick, what were you most excited about? Just a little recap. What were you most excited about?
I'm always most excited about picking up the latest and greatest games that have not come out yet.
Which is why you've already did your Gen Con haul video.
Yeah. And that will lead into my biggest disappointment, but we'll get into that in a little bit. You know, I look forward to getting up there to meeting people, getting to have good food.
So, Randy, part of what we get to do, though, this is actually the second con that we got to really do it, is meet with the different vendors to kind of go over future games. So, that was one of the big highlights. I didn't actually do a lot of this go around because I was actually more running events or playing events. And that was kind of you and Rob's thing, right? You went to several, mostly you, but Rob,
me, yeah.
But Rob ended up helping quite a bit, and I think I went to one.
I ended up having to cancel most every event that I was going to be in. The only event I actually attended was the big game night, and I only got through half of that before I just got exhausted and had to leave. All in all, you know, starting out, first of all, our first big event on Wednesday with the Weber Grill event, I thought was a huge success this time. We had a ton of people show up.
Right, it was so good, and the conversation was it was good flow, and a lot of new people, or not a lot of people that we normally hang out with.
Yeah,
you know,
we got
people,
to meet a couple of cool people, and then we had several of our friends that just kind of just popped in.
Yeah, some of our, which it turned out to be absolutely fantastic. I love is.
Yeah, we had to grow
some
the
people
table.
that we don't get to see very often, and so that was awesome. And then some new ones that, you know, and then like I said, the flow of conversation was absolutely fantastic. The food was really good. Overall, it was a splendid start to our Gen Con. So shout out to Weber Grill, being amazing. Their meatloaf is yummy. So there's too much meatloaf. Honestly, you can.
The portions are huge.
Yeah, when he ordered meatloaf, I should have been like, I'm just splitting yours, because we ended up having a whole plate left over. All right, so after Weber Grill, I do think you ended up playing some games. I didn't.
You were zoned. Yeah.
I'm an early to bed kind of lady.
She's old.
I am. You know what's funny though? It's so true, because this is old man here turning 50 at Gen Con, and then I'm the one that like crochets, goes to bed early. Like it's funny. He's like, "You're going to bed already?" I do feel like the old person in my relationship.
I gotta say, you know, I used to stay up all night at Gen Con. Now I'm like crashing at midnight. I'm not making it all.
I've already been asleep for a few hours, and I'm like, why are you waking me up? So Wednesday night, you and Rhonda ended up going to play the crew because she wanted to learn the crew.
It was kind of a spontaneous. Jason was with us too, and we went downstairs.
I remember that, because he came with us.
So we went downstairs, and we sat down in the hallway, and these two older gentlemen walked by, and they were like, "Oh, the crew, that's an awesome game." And the other one said, "Well, I never had to play it." So we just kind of spontaneously invited them to sit down with us, and we all played the crew there.
That's nice.
It was super cool. Great experience. I love when you just get to meet people like that, you know. Yeah. So, we sat down and all played the crew all night, and then, crashed because we were all tired because we're old. And we during the day before that we played Rise of the Ganges, but we did the roll and write version. We didn't get to finish it because my sister, she had auctioned like half of her collection. I exaggerated a bit. It was like 40 or 50 games, and she was there doing the exchange, the math trade. So she kept running out every few minutes. It was like almost like some kind of dealings were going on that were illicit. Because every few minutes she kept running out on us on the gate to make exchanges.
Hey, you know what? Hey, honestly, I think the math trade is a great idea. It's a way to get the games that you want for the games that you have, and try to make sure that they live a long and wonderful life. And so I'm fantastic. I love it to see people doing that.
Yeah, it blows my brain. So I don't think I know if plus I don't want to give up my games, but.
For you, but you want to know where it's going. Like, I have found that you'll be like, oh, you can just keep it. He don't mind. A, he's going to go replace it. But B, I think it's because you know where it's going. Even games we don't like horrible. It's like, well, who's this going to? Like, he wants to know where his game's going to land.
Let's take care of.
Yeah, exactly. It's just funny. So I just think it's kind of
funny. Yeah, that was our Wednesday. So then Thursday morning comes, and this is where I had my biggest disappointment because I had plotted meticulously my route.
I did fine.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have anything to do.
No.
Tell me what to do, because he was all panicky. He was all panicky about, oh, we're not going to get this, or we're not going to get that, we're not going to get this. And I was
you're not letting me finish my story.
So I told him, just give me one place where you want me to go, and I'll go get it.
And you didn't listen to me.
That is not true. I did go get the game.
So anyway, I had my route meticulously planned because my first priority was getting terracotta army, because I was afraid it might sell out. And I was planning a route around that to hit all the boosts to get the things that I needed in that 20XX range, whatever. So the day before, on Wednesday, they announced that Capstone is going to be selling these Arc Nova maps at their booth in a limited quantity. Didn't say how many, just said make sure, first come, first serve. So I had to change my route because that was now top priority to get one of those maps. So I moved over because Catherine was also coming out, which is also one of my must-haves. Didn't come out, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I went over and lined up at the other end now of the entire floor plan, which totally messed up my plan. And you had asked about which one to go for, and I told you to go for Terracotta Army. And I told you to go down to the far end of the floor next to where
the farthest away from my hotel. That is what I heard. That is what I heard. I heard farthest away. And farthest away from me. And I'm at the hotel. So
I did not say that. I said farthest end next to where the ticketed events are held, which was clearly the 20X range.
Nope.
So while I'm waiting, someone puts their arms around me, and I'm like, this better not be my wife. But then again, it better be my wife. And I turn around, and there's Miranda standing right behind me at the entrance. And I'm like, why are you here? And she said she was told to go to this end. And I'm like, no, why would I have you standing in the same entrance I'm at?
Listen, did I get you your game?
You did end up getting my game, and it didn't sell out until like the very end. So, and as it turns out, the map packs were there all the way through Sunday. You could have gotten them anytime you wanted. They had plenty of them. So, but they didn't have Catherine. So I got in that line. That was my first disappointment.
So that was a series of, because I talked to a lot of people. I've overheard a lot of people. A lot of people didn't get the games that they thought that they were going to get at Gen Con just because of shipping and freight. Like, it just did not arrive on time. And a couple mentioned that they had to air freight lower quantities of games just to get them in, which is, significantly more expensive and whatever. So, that wasn't, I don't think, on the gaming people's fault, but at the same time,
the first 3 booths I went to, I ran into the same situation. So that was like my first hour at Gen Con was a complete waste. I did get the map, but that was the only thing that I managed to achieve in the first hour.
Well, I got Arcana Army right there at the beginning.
Arcana Army, you managed to get that, but
and then I texted him, "Where do you want me to go next?" And then he didn't respond, so I just wandered around aimlessly, and I kept saying, "Well, this is on his list. Yep. Do I get it? Has he already got it? I don't know." So I just kept walking because I didn't know.
So after that, though, things got significantly better. We started to meet with vendors, and the first one being KTBG and Burt Island Games. And they were great at Origins. They were great here again.
So this next one that you're going to talk about, would you say it's your most excited?
It was definitely the one that I didn't expect the most. I will say that. I think
this is the one you've talked about the most. This is the one he's talked about the most.
And that is Endeavor Deep Sea. We love Endeavor Age of Sail. I kickstarted that, probably my favorite Kickstarters that we've gotten, and I had no clue this was coming. So they were doing a re-release or not a re-release, but a new addition to the series of Endeavor that's going to be set in the deep sea, and it's going to be modern times, so it's not pirate times like the Age of Sail is. But super exciting. It's not going to have a set map. It's going to be like a modular map based upon little boards. We got to see a prototype of it. They didn't have a physical copy, but we got to see the prototype of it, and Rob and I were both like just floored. It looks like it's going to be incredible. So that was our first meetup. Second meetup of that day was with BA Games. Got to meet Samuel Stockton, who is the guy that created the Cult of the Deep game that we recently reviewed.
So this one I think I'm the most excited about because, okay, so you guys seen the Cult of the Deep review. You'll notice I'm not in it because it's not my cup of tea. It's very traitorous, and it's not my thing. This one seems to be by the same person, but more up my alley. So this was the one I was excited about when you were telling me about it, because when Randy explained it to me...
So first of all, Cult of the Deep, regardless of what your opinion of the type of game it is, it had beautiful components.
It
was done to the hill.
For a Patrol game, I could tolerate it.
The component quality was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, and even the different roles and everything... No, it was fine for a trader game.
So, BA Games' new release that's coming is called Forges of Ravenshire, and this is kind of like a worker placement action selection type game where you're going to be forging different weapons, equipment in your foundry.
I'm excited.
Yeah, it's definitely more your type of game, and it's got a little bit of engine building where you're selecting your board on your board how to build up your board to be more beneficial for your future builds. So and you generate victory points based upon the different things you build. So it's definitely more of the kind of game you like, but hopefully we'll still have the same quality of components, because all I saw was the prototype, which was using bits and pieces from other games, and
just it takes time.
Yeah, but I mean, I got to play the first few rounds with Samuel Stockton, the guy that created Cult of the Deep and to this game, and then he had to step off to talk to another person that had dropped by. So I finished the game, the first round or whatever we were playing with another person at the booth. But yeah, it looks like it's going to be an interesting little engine builder. On Thursday after hours, we got to meet up with the Dustin Dade, who is the creator of Scourge of the High Seas, which is the pirate game that we saw at Origins that we were really impressed with the prototype of. Yeah. So we got to actually play a game of that. And, we had kind of mixed opinions at the table about the game. We thought, we all thought it had some really good aspects to it. There were some things that we thought there might be could be handled better. We gave him some feedback on that. I'm not sure, if he's going to incorporate any of our ideas into the game, but super nice guy. We like the prototype still. We like, the concept of the game. It was really cool to get to play it there. And so that was pretty much our Thursday. Took us all the way up till we got tired. So then the next morning, Friday,
we went to bed pretty early Thursday. All of us did.
Well, I think we got back up there about midnight. But that's
I was
pretty much the
already
latest.
asleep.
You were asleep. That's pretty much the latest I was able to get any night. But then, first thing Friday morning, I had a meeting to meet up with Jason Brooks, the owner of Brooks Fun Games, which is the creator of Legacies. So his new game is called Clandestine. And it's got kind of a modular board to it based on number of players, but you have your own kind of private area that you control, and you have a circular or oval shaped board where everybody can maneuver people on. Mm-hmm. And you're kind of building a cult, if you will, trying to lure people into your little area, because the more people that are in your area, the more powerful the action can be that you trigger. And you're trying to then also build up a little bit of engine building on it too, because you're adding cards to the area you control that's going to build up power. So whenever you trigger that space, you'll get to trigger those additional cards as well. And I really liked what I saw of it. I didn't get to play it real long because I had an AEG event right after that I had to get to. But when I got the demo of it, I really liked. I liked the idea of it.
Okay, cool. So then the next one, you said you went to AEG.
Well, yeah.
Now, you told me a little bit about this. Listen, he was talking to me, but this is what I got out of it. There was a huge Lego pirate ship. That's awesome.
Yeah. So, actually, but before either of those things, I had to meet up with the guy to pick up my copies of Glory to Rome, which is my Grail game that I've been looking for forever. I managed to get 2 copies of it, one for me and one for Robert for Christmas. So
I'm making him wait till Christmas because I'm the one that paid for it. So
for Robert, Robert's been trying to manipulate us to try to get it earlier.
So I mean, I think we should make Robert wait. What do you guys think? I think he should wait till Christmas.
So, whenever I got to meet with him while we were out there, it just so happened that Alec Usticki from the Fans of Gen Con group happened to be buying a game from him too. As a matter of fact, he thought I was the guy that he was supposed to meet to buy it. But, just coincidentally we were there, so I got to meet him. I got the little Fans of Gen Con die and the ribbon for being there, just because that was really cool. So, but then back to the AEG event. So after meeting up with Jason Brooks, I went over to the AEG event right away, which was at the Westin. And
most of those games that you demoed were the same ones for AEG game night.
No. They had it was like a 12-person at a time thing where we went to this private room, and they had a video where they showed all their upcoming games.
Oh, okay.
So there was Wormholes was on there, which we didn't play at the big game night, but they had it, I think they sold it at their booth. I don't think they even showed it.
But we've already reviewed that one.
Well, we had an early copy because they sent it out as if they were going to do it at the big game night. Whenever we went to this media event, they gave us a copy of that for reviewing, which we've already done. But we did, what we got to demo was a game called Shake That City, which is an upcoming game they've got, which is basically, I would call it a shake and write. They have a little box that you shake these little cubes in, and then it's kind of like the, what's that?
Camel Up?
Camel Up, exactly. Kind of like the Camel Up little device you push, and they have like a 3x3 grid that lets the cubes fall out into it. And then you pick a pattern of the cubes that you're going to select to write onto your board. So it's in essence a roll and write, but this is your mechanism for choosing the cubes, and you're arranging a city based on the different types of color cubes that you choose. So it looked like it'd be a lot of fun, but we only got to play a couple rounds because we were kind of rotating around with the groups. We also got to demo Ready, Set, Bet.
Now you talked about this one.
Yeah, this was it was a horse racing one, which we actually got a copy of that we'll be doing a review on coming up. And that one was, it's basically one person is doing a quick roll to determine which horses are going to move. And they're, in essence, the caller of the race. They're calling this race, the horse, whatever is moving up, and then this horse is moving up and moving up and moving up. And everybody else is placing their bets as quickly as they can. And there's a cutoff where the bets have to cut off before, if a horse crosses the line and so on. But you're placing bets almost like roulette style, where you can bet on the color of the horse or the number of the horse, or you can bet on like odd or even, and you'll get different probabilities of winning based upon what you pick as far as your bets. But if it turns out that your bets are off, you lose the money, similarly. So it's a quick roulette style game, which I thought was a lot of fun.
Which I'm kind of excited because we talked about this, having good derby games. We found a really good one this year, but the way you were talking about it, this could be another one of those.
Yeah,
great
I think it'll be
games.
one that will get out just along with Long Shot.
For the derby games, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So then they had 2 other ones they didn't have where we could demo them, but they had them on display there. One was called Waffle Time, and it's a puzzle game about making waffles. So a very simple concept. You just had a waffle, which was your grid, if you will, and you had to just decorate it with your toppings like blueberries and strawberries and butter palette and all that stuff on there.
Well, I mean, honestly, the best way to do it is banana, syrup, and peanut butter.
I don't know if peanut butter was even an option, but syrup and I think syrup and butter and bananas were.
So, just saying, how would you make your guys' waffles? I know the way I make my waffles. It's yummy.
Then there was also Let's Go to Japan, which was like a travel. You're basically making a travel guide for how you're going to go to Japan and laying out your itinerary.
I'm excited. I'm about to go to Japan. At least I hope so. We're plotting.
But the art was done all by Japanese artists, and the art was beautiful on this. But you basically are planning out your trip. And I don't know much about the gameplay on it, but it just looked pretty. So after the AEG event, I had a little bit of time to shop, but not much, because at later that afternoon, I met up with Jay Cormier, and Robert and I got to demo his new game. He's, by the way, the creator of Mind Management. So, which is a game we got at last Gen Con that Rob and I really enjoyed. We still haven't got a review up for that. We need to do that. But this one's called Harrow County, and you're basically playing it's a player versus player game in essence. You can play it with more, but it's really designed to be 1 versus 1. And you're playing as one is like the witch, and the other one is basically kind of trying to take out the witch. And you've got locations that you're trying to destroy for the other player, and you're trying to cause a blockade that's going to cause a problem for the other player to get to your destinations. But what was interesting about it is the box itself has a cube drop where you drop the cubes in whenever you're having a combat, and they fall through the actual box. So you don't have like a separate dice tower or whatever. It's built into the actual box.
Oh, that's a cool thought.
Yeah. So it was a novel thing, but it was a fun little kind of like chess style.
So is it similar to Whitechapel, the way you're describing?
No, Whitechapel, you're trying to like figure out where person X is on the map. You've got key locations on a kind of a map, kind of like a chessboard, and you're trying to get to those locations to basically take out the strongholds of the other player.
Okay.
So you can take actions that will allow you to add more workers to the board, or you can do different actions, but you can only trigger 3 per round. So it's an interesting little, almost like an abstract game, if you will, but it's not really abstract. But it was a fun play. After that, I had a brief meeting with Steamforged Games, and they kind of did a quick rundown. I'm not going to go through everything because they had a ton of games that they mentioned, but some of the key things that I took away from it was they're going to try to relaunch Dark Souls. So Dark Souls was a Kickstarter I backed because I love the video game, and I gotta say, felt like I got my money's worth of the game, because when you take the lid off, the first thing you see is you died, which is just like the video game where they kill you immediately. And I'm like, yep, I captured the feel of the game immediately. I never played the game, but I felt like I got my money's worth just by taking the lid off and it said you died. But from what I understand, there was a lot of mixed opinions about the game. There were a lot of things that were quirky about it. So they're trying to basically revisit it and revitalize the game and try to correct all those things that people didn't like and relaunch it.
Well, we didn't even get to play the original.
No, I got it. It's taking up a ton of space downstairs because there's a lot of miniatures involved.
Well, maybe we need to pull it out.
Yeah. They also recently acquired the rights to Rivet Wars, so they're going to be relaunching that. And they also were the ones that reacquired Euthia from the company that disbanded, that had Euthia. So they're going to be relaunching Euthia as well, which I think that's already up on Kickstarter. So they got those. Their big title that they had at Gen Con was Bard's Song, which looked really pretty. If you're into miniature games, it had a ton of miniatures.
So I'm looking at his list, and I'm so sad he's not mentioning this. RuneScape. I actually backed this.
That's the thing.
I actually backed it. Why? I don't know. Because I used to be an old RuneScape player way back.
Yeah, but they mentioned it, that they do have the RuneScape rights. I don't know much about the game because I'm not a MMO player, but
okay. So, but I did end up backing it because it looked like character development, and I don't see enough of that in games about being able to truly develop my character. This is one of the reasons why I love RPGs, and because I don't get any RPG time, this is mostly my fault. That I'm excited to see maybe a board game that has more of that element in it. Anyway, that's my plug-in for my one little game I kickstarted. I don't kickstart a lot, but every once in a while I get a hankering. So.
Yep. So then that was all of our Friday. So on Saturday is where I actually spent most of my time finishing my pin collection to get my carpet pin. The one pin you wanted. That was a tour, going and chasing down that carpet pin, because they had it where you basically got a random selection, it said, but from my understanding, it was basically a lot of people were just going in and turning in their 7-pin tickets and getting it. So I don't know how random it really was. But yeah, I had to guarantee that I got it. You had to get 24 pins. So I had to creatively come up with ways to do that without spending a fortune.
Luckily, eBay was giving away their pin, so
yeah, that helped.
That helped.
There was
because Randy got one, I got one.
I solved a puzzle for Twilight Imperium pin, which got me one, and then
so we got creative.
Creatively found the ways to get the tickets that we needed to get.
Now there were some pins that we just straight up bought because I liked them, so I was just like, hey, I like that. You can buy that one. Yeah.
And on that day, we also got to meet with Ashette Games. And
that was the one I actually got to
join us.
with
And
you.
I met with Ashette at Origins, met with Danny. Danny's super friendly. We always love meeting with her. And Robert joined this time. So
yes, he was actually there too, yeah.
So we got to see their upcoming lineup, and they have a kids game coming up called Flashback Zombie Kids. All right, so it's similar to Detective Chronicles. It's got campaign elements. It's designed for ages 7 and up, and supposedly it's coming out in November, but it's kind of it's whatever. I've not really seen Detective Chronicles, so I'm not sure what their Detective Chronicles line looks like, but it looked like it'd be fun for kids. They also had a game called Ole Guacamole, which was, they called it an anti-spelling party game. So this was kind of a game where you had basically kind of a chain where you listed a word which you couldn't use certain letters, and then you had to keep the chain going. It looked like it was just a little quick filler type party game. They also had Link to and Matchup, which were kind of like a little trivia game that we played. We did like a demo of it. Yeah,
so basically that one is kind of like, okay, so it's a trivia game, but you have the answers in front of you. So you have like 12 answers. I don't remember how many, but you have the answers in front of you, and then they ask the question, and you have to hook up the question with the right answer. So there's a process of elimination. So if you're not like the greatest at trivia, that's me, this one actually seems doable because you have basically the answer list in front of you and you're just trying to match them, but there is a speed component to it, and there's a complexity level as well as, making sure that you're getting the right ones and basically win or not win. So I thought that one was actually a good kind of play on trivia, because a lot of times with trivia, you get overwhelmed because, like, for me, I don't know anything.
In the round we played,
I am not good at trivia at all, but this one I knew most of the answers to, and then the process of elimination, it was like, oh, well, then that one's probably that one.
Yeah, it was like they had the numbers 1 through 20, and you were eliminating ones by the answers you had previously used.
Right, and that was just a play set, like they said that.
Yeah, they have different varieties of them.
Yeah, the numbers was strictly for the demos, but I thought it worked out great. Yeah. I thought that one was a good one because it's a trivia game that's not intimidating.
Yeah.
And so I could actually get behind that, because typically I avoid trivia games because it is very intimidating. Yes, I did academic recall when I was younger, but I wasn't very good at it. I was really there for the math portion. Like, that was my job, math.
Yep. Next, they had the next expansion to Nidavellir, which is called Idaval. Nidavellir, I've got the base game and the first expansion I picked up at Origins. We haven't played it yet, or the expansion, so we need to get a review of that up too. But yeah, it's a well-loved game. A lot of people really enjoy this game, so I'm looking forward to trying Nidavellir. But all they really had was the box. We didn't get to see anything about it other than they had a box, and I don't think it was actually the official box. They just kind of put the Idaval logo over one of the other boxes. The last one they had, this one looked really interesting. It's called Galileo, and it is basically in the world of Ganymede, which is a game that our friends at Envy Board Gaming recommended to us. We picked up a while back that we haven't tried yet. But this one is a set collection and tableau building game that's supposed to come out around the end of October. So probably right around the same time as Essen is my guess. Mm-hmm. So that was basically their lineup. Later that day, I met up with CGE, and I got to talk with the person there who showed me their two titles that they were featuring as upcoming games, which was Starship Captains and Deal with the Devil. Starship Captains, you have basically a queue of where you're placing your different color shirt workers. So it's kind of like it's clearly based on Star Trek.
Which I am totally okay with.
They have the red shirts and the yellow shirts and the blue shirts, and they all have different abilities. And then you have
I don't ever want to be a red shirt. You'll die.
Well, they don't die in this one necessarily. But you have also neutral, where you can assign them and upgrade them into one of those roles. But you have your science officers are the blue shirt ones, and so you have different abilities based upon which worker you assign.
Yellow's communication or engineers.
But once you've emptied your pool of workers, they're in this queue. You got to push them all back in, and some of them are going to stay locked. Your last few are going to be locked for the next round, so you don't get to get all your workers back every round. But you have to do actions to upgrade your ship, or to do explorations, or do all kinds of different actions that would tie into a space theme. And I really thought this game looked like a very interesting one, be right up our alley, something we would really like. Deal with the Devil, I'm a little concerned about. This one, I thought the concept was interesting, but I'm just thinking they may have tailored it so much. I'm not sure how many people are going to sell this to. Because, first of all, it's made by the same person that made Alchemist. So it's an app-driven game like Alchemist, which that turns some people off right away. But this one, the theme of it is kind of like you have a hidden role. So again, something that turns some people away. But it's got to be 4 players. You can't have any less. It has to be exactly 4 players, which is very, limiting.
Yeah. And
but each player has a role. One person plays the devil, one person plays the human, and 2 people play as cultists who their goal is to sell their soul to the devil. And you have hidden attributes that you put into a container that you pass around, and then ultimately, to try to achieve your goal, you have to build up fortresses and such to prevent your town from being attacked by the Inquisitors, who are coming to fight off anybody that is in the town. So basically, you all have to work together to keep the Inquisitors away while you're doing this whole exchange and trying to get pieces of soul. It just seemed like a very limiting concept. I'm not sure how that one's going to go. It was kind of a strange choice. But, I mean, it looked interesting gameplay-wise. I just don't think they're going to have a huge audience for that. It's 4-player, has to be 4-player. It has hidden roles. It has app-driven. There's a lot of things that are going to limit the audience for it. And, the theme of some people might have issues with, obviously.
I know a few people who will not play with that thing.
Yeah.
That one, yeah.
So that was pretty much our Saturday.
I'm going to stop you.
Okay.
Because Saturday was his 50th birthday.
Yeah.
We had a bunch of people stop by and began the process of cookie delivery. So I ended up getting Randy a lot of cookies. We'll just say a lot of cookies.
Yes.
There was a lot of cookies.
Some of which made it intact.
Which, it was the bellhop that destroyed my cookies. I'm very upset about it. Anyway, and I'm not talking about Robert, because he was actually our bellhop. I'm talking about the bellhop that the hotel provided. Anyway, so we ended up starting passing out cookies, and these cookies were freaking amazing.
Mm-hmm. They were good.
It was so wonderful that people stopped by and shared cookies with us, and we ended up, I'm going to jump a little bit ahead to Sunday night, so we had all these cookies still left over, and we ended up, whoever was there at the open gaming hall Sunday night, we just started celebrating Randy's birthday. We started out handing out cookies, and everyone was like, happy birthday, it was so wonderful, I absolutely loved it. So, gracious spirit with everybody, just overall, we were all happy, and the cookies were yummy. I liked them. I thought they were super tasty.
Yep.
So shout out to the cookie maker, and just general, it was fun, and it was great to celebrate your 50th birthday, so happy birthday, old man.
So then on Sunday, we met with Atlas Games and picked up Gloomier and Gloom Chronicles, which are their new titles in their Gloom line. So we're going to be demoing those or doing a preview review of those coming up in probably early October for Halloween. It's, seemed a good time, and, that's what we discussed with Atlas. We'd probably feature them then. Also, later, I got to meet with Didier Delaz from Sit Down Games. Got to try out their... was originally going to meet with him about Redwood, but after playing Redwood, I saw he had set up a couple other games, and I was curious about him, so got to talk to him about his other games as well. But Redwood's their newest Kickstarter that was out, and I really liked the concept of it. It reminded me of Picture Perfect, but you're arranging a photograph in a woods area, and they have these plastic, kind of like X-Wing, where you have to choose your angle and your width of your photograph, but you have to kind of pick blind. So you can look at it and kind of gauge what you think is going to fall into it, but once you then pick it, you lock in, you had whatever doesn't fall into the picture that you thought might have is going to count against you. So you want to make sure you line it up and get everything into the picture, because you have a specific, based upon the arrangement and what's in the background, you have to have a certain number of items in the picture. You lose points for everything you don't get fully into focus into your shot. So it's a little taking that picture perfect concept to like the next level. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But then while I was showing me that, he also had Tiwanaku there, which was a recent Kickstarter, and I saw it out there, but I didn't back it at the time. Since then, after doing this demo, I went out and tracked it down and ended up backing it. But it was basically like a Sudoku puzzle built into a board game, and I really like Sudoku puzzles. So when I saw what it was, I got to actually demo it. I'm like, this is right up my alley.
I'm not gonna lie, Sudoku. I think Sudoku had recently come out right when I had gotten cancer when I was 17 years old, and so I totally could kick some butt because I was in the hospital all the time, and so I had my little Sudoku puzzle. And let me tell you something, I could get those hards. Like, I would time myself and try to get hards under 3 minutes. So I'd sit there and time myself to see how fast I could do those. Mm-hmm. So you say that I have a lot of love for Sudoku. I don't play much anymore.
Well, this is like a board game version of Sudoku, so it's interesting. Yeah. And then the other game that he showed me was kind of like it was a one-on-one partnership game where you played on a timer. Called Gardeners. But basically, so one player has kind of the high-level pattern that they're trying to achieve, but the other player has the detail of what the actual goal is. And they're playing tiles, and you both are putting tiles towards this goal, but one player doesn't know what the goal is. So the other player has the right and ability to kick out tiles the other player's playing if they don't help contribute to the goal. But you're trying to see how many of these criteria you can get in the 15-minute time that you have. Okay. And it says it plays up to, I think, 4, but I don't know how 4 would work. Seem like it'd be more chaotic with 4 players. But with 2 players, I thought it worked fine. But really, it was the Tuanaku and Redwood that I was super stoked about when I saw them. So, yeah, those are the ones I'm definitely going to be interested in checking out in the future.
Okay, cool beans. All right, so that wraps up Sunday. I mean, yours was pretty busy just meeting people and shopping.
Just swamped. Yeah. I didn't really get to do anything else. I mean, literally, I was shopping or meeting people the whole time.
Yeah. Now, me, on the other hand, I spent most of my time either running events or playing in board game events, learning. I did get to learn Distilled. Guys, I'm stoked. I'm so stoked. Like, that one's going to be awesome. Super excited to when it finally comes out. So glad we backed it. So I did get to learn and play that one. Then I also got to... Well, most of the other ones I got to play games I already know and love, and we don't get the opportunity to do that much because we're always playing new stuff. So that was kind of where my focus was, but I did get to meet a lot of cool people, either running events or playing events. And then, I'm not going to lie, I spent a lot of my time in the vendor hall looking at, the artists, some book writers, not just the board game aspect. And there's so much talent there at Gen Con, so a shout out to all the artists and all the writers there at Gen Con. Super excited about the content that came out this year. And yeah, so mine was a lot more relaxing than yours was.
Yeah.
Because I ended up giving up a few of my tickets to go do things because they either overbooked or some things like that. So I didn't get to do everything that I had originally planned on doing, but I ended up being totally okay with it because it was a lot more relaxing, and my current work schedule has been a little rough. So I needed more relaxing, and that's what Gen Con was this go around for me.
Oh, yeah.
It was kind of nice.
And our good friends, Brandon and Matt, won the Emmy at Gen Con for Wedding Games.
Yeah,
so,
Wedding Games. Awesome. I know, that was awesome. So, no, we had some things turned out really good for all of our friends at the con, and it was so super exciting to see everybody, and it was such a blast to hang out with everyone once again. Getting to meet some people that we don't get to meet up with as often was fantastic. So overall, it was just an absolutely great experience. We were very fortunate to go. Little surprised, we didn't use the VIP area as much as we did last year.
I was in there quite a bit.
Oh, you were?
Yeah,
okay.
I went in there a lot.
I think I forgot it.
A lot.
I think I forgot about it until halfway through, and then I started going a little bit more. I was like, oh yeah, I can go in here. I can grab me a drink. I'm thirsty. So, because for a while I was buying drinks and stuff at the vendor hall, and I was actually buying drinks. I was like, why am I doing this? This is so silly. But anyway, so it was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Guys, we appreciate hanging out with you, and hopefully, what games are you excited to see out of the ones that we talked about? Which games, I think you can go look at Randy's Hall. Which games do you want us to play first? I will say I'm excited. Now because I didn't do a haul video, I did get quite a few Japanime games. Their newest one. So this is funny. This is funny, guys. This is funny. So I was at Japanime, and they're like, oh, this is our new release for this year. And I was like, okay, let me grab that because it actually looked pretty cool. So not only did I get it, so Japanime Games has an amazing raffle at the end of every show day. Now, for the record, I love Japanime Games for a couple of reasons. So anytime they do the raffle, they bring out the things. There is a collective groupism that's like, ooh, looking at the things, the positivity. And then when someone wins, everyone's excited for that person. That positivity for the raffle is beautiful. Everyone's excited for everybody that wins. The prices are always fantastic. So I will give a shout out to Japanime Games. I love the way they do that. Anyway, so I like to be part of it, so I went to go buy the thing. Not only did I win the exact same game on Sunday night, or Sunday afternoon, I ended up coming home and opening up my Kickstarter that I had already backed of the same game. So now I have 3 copies of this game, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I figure they're going to end up being Christmas gifts, or we do have a couple of extra copies of things that we thought about giving away here on the channel. So do pay attention to upcoming things.
Yeah.
I think
got to figure out how to make it work with lack of contact information. That's the big issue.
Yeah, so we do have an email function through. We got to work through some details. So we're going to look at that. I definitely do want to have one around Christmas time so we can give away a few Christmas presents, maybe a Christmas episode. I think that would be a lot of fun. So we'll look into a couple of ideas of how to do that. You'll probably see it hopefully before October what those will look like. So that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We're getting big enough or make enough mistakes that there'll be extra games to give people. So we do also have some extra promos that we did get and some other things like that because we get duplicates because, with this being 2 or 3 people, depending on Randy and Robert and all this, sometimes we get a few extra games, which is fantastic. And we want to share the wealth, I guess, because it's fantastic for you guys. Thank you guys. We appreciate you. Hopefully.
Yep. Hopefully we'll see you at next Gen Con.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.